All right, today I thought we would do something a little bit different. I recently bought these parts, this body and this neck, off of Craigslist, and I think I paid $120 for it. And it's a P-base body, and it's a jazz bass neck, a fretless neck. It's a Mighty Mite licensed fretless neck, so it's a pretty good neck. I've used these before. And we're going to do something a little different than just bolt things together, because one thing I really don't like is a base without a pick guard. And this body is set up to have no pick guard. It's got the rear route, and I really don't like that. So what I've done is I bought a pick guard to go on this base. But this body is not routed for a pick guard. So what we're going to do is, first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in this hole. And we're going to fill in that route with a block of wood. And then we're going to route the front for front controls, traditional controls. And then my plan is to paint this body. I have an off-white color from a tractor restoration I did years ago, and that's probably what we'll end up using on it. But that's what the project's going to be. We're going to do some woodworking on this body. We're going to reroute it so it has front controls. And then we'll put the thing together, and I'll try to show you every step of the process. So this will be something a little different than what I normally do on as far as base related things. So hopefully you'll join along as we go through this. All right, so the next thing I need to do is I need to cut a plug to plug this hole here where the jack went. And what I want to do is I want to make that plug so that the outside of this space has face grain rather than end grain. So I don't want to use a dowel to plug that, because when we go to paint this, end grain will soak up the paint different. And I think eventually you'll end up seeing a shadow where that was in the paint. And if we use face grain, like here on this block of wood that I'm going to use, this piece of birch, the face grain I think will just disappear. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a circle that's 3/4 of an inch thick. And we're going to sand it wedge-shaped. Then we're going to use some yellow glue to put it in there. And since it's wedge-shaped, what I'm really concerned with is that the outside edge will be super tight. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a Forstner bit that's the same size as this hole. And I'm going to take it here on this block of wood. And I am going to just go down a little bit. And that shows me where I need to cut. So I'm going to go on the bandsaw, and I'm going to go ahead and cut around that area. I'm going to leave it a little bit big, and then I'm going to sand it to fit. So I'll be back in 1 second. So here's my little bandsawed plug. And as you can see, it's too big. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over here to my belt sander, and I am going to sand this down until I have a cone shape that will fit in there. And then I'm going to put some glue on it, and we'll wedge it in. All right, so here we have our cone-shaped plug. And what we're going to do is we're going to line the grain up. The grain goes the same way, just like that. And we're going to put a little glue on that, and then we're going to pound it in with a hammer. Okay, so here we have our plug. Just made this out of a piece of scrap wood, and we're going to line up the grain here. You can see how that kind of fits in there. I just sanded that to fit. Now I'm going to put some glue on it, and we're going to seat it in with a hammer. All right, so we've got glue on our plug, and we've got it in there, and I'm going to try to tap this in. We'll stop there. No reason to press our luck, right? So there we go. So that's step one. All right. Now that we've got this plug glued in, you can kind of see what that looks like. We're going to cut it off, and we're going to sand that flush. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So let's see what happens here. Just using this gent saw. Alright, so there's that. And we'll just pause this for one. Okay, I had to run and get my file, which is just a piece of wood, piece of scrap wood with some sandpaper on the end of it, some 80 grit sandpaper, about as low-tech a tool as you can get. So we'll go ahead and use this to sand this flush. We're about there. All right, there we go. So there is our hole plugged. So looks pretty good. Have to do a little sweetening up with some probably finer grits of sandpaper, but we'll go ahead and stop there. The next project's going to be plugging this hole in the back. And my plan is to use this piece of poplar, just a piece of scrap poplar, to do that. This body is made out of alder. It's a 3-piece body. And I think the problem with, I'm going to wait and find out. It looks to me like the holes for the neck are not drilled correctly. So we may get into plugging those and re-drilling those, but we'll see. But other than that, I'm gonna make we're gonna make a template and route this deeper, and then we're gonna make a plug to fit in there and glue that in, and then we'll sand that flush, and then we'll be ready to do the front route. So that's where we're at. Thanks.